Hey, welcome to the Explainer. If you're even thinking about buying an RV, you know how crazy it can be. There are so many brands, so many options, it's just a whole lot of noise. Today, we're going to look at how one company, Jayco, tries to cut through all of that with a very specific idea.
So, you're ready to get that home on wheels. But let's be honest, every single brand out there says they're the best. How in the world do you figure out what you're actually getting for your money? And maybe more importantly, how do you find the real deal, the lasting value that's buried under the sales pitch?
Well, to try and answer that, let's take a look at a specific example. Jayco, they're one of the oldest names in the game, and they've built their whole brand around this concept they call the Jayco Difference. Now, it's not just one feature, it's a whole philosophy for how they build these things, and we're going to unpack it.
And this is their whole slogan, right here. We do things a little differently. It sounds simple, but it's a pretty bold claim. So what does doing things differently actually look like when you're talking about the steel, the wood, and the fiberglass of an RV?
Okay, so here's the core idea. Instead of trying to upsell you on a ton of expensive options, their goal is to make more of the high-quality features just standard. They argue that with over 50 years in the business, they've learned what owners actually need to have a better, safer trip, right from day one.
But, a philosophy is one thing. How does that actually show up in the vehicles themselves? Let's start with their towable lineup. We're talking everything from travel trailers to fifth wheels and toy haulers.
For any of the rigs you pull behind your truck, their big focus is on durability, the foundation. And the logic here is pretty simple, right? A bumpy road shouldn't mean your cabinet doors are falling off. The whole adventure really depends on the quality of what's underneath it all.
And here are a few concrete examples of what they're talking about. They point to things like including durable, American-made tires as a standard feature, not some pricey upgrade you have to haggle for. They also make their units solar prepped, which is huge because they know that going off-grid is becoming something everyone wants to do.
All right, so that covers the towables. Now let's see how this whole idea changes when the engine is part of the package. We're moving on to the motorhomes. For these, the focus gets even broader.
See, with a motorhome, you're not just buying a living space, you are buying a vehicle. So for this to work, the difference has to cover the entire driving experience, from how it handles on the highway to the basic reliability of the chassis it's built on.
A really key example they give here is their focus on ride and handling packages. Now, these are systems specifically designed to reduce sway and improve stability, which makes the vehicle a whole lot safer and just less exhausting to drive. It's all about engineering how the motorhome feels when you're on the road, not just how it looks when it's parked.
So we've seen their approach for towables and for motorized RVs. But Jayco claims this isn't some philosophy that's just for their most expensive models. The goal, they state, is to apply this built-in value idea across their entire product line, from top to bottom.
Okay, we've gone through the philosophy, we've looked at the examples, but what does any of this actually mean for you when you're the one standing on the dealership lot with your checkbook?
When you boil it all down, the promise is basically this. By including more of the essential stuff right from the start, they hope to reduce the hassle and the hidden costs that can pop up later. The whole goal is just a better experience from the moment you drive off the lot, built on safety, simplicity, and durability.
And this brings us to the real takeaway. Understanding a manufacturer's philosophy is one thing, that's great. But the most important question isn't what they think is valuable, it's what you can't live without. So before you even look at a price tag, what are the features that are going to make or break your adventure? Because that's the only difference that really truly matters.